Hello, hello, hello. Papa dog is happy. Yes, he is happy. It's the best dog. Yeah. So, and I'm making another in vitro meat plant out of a green plate generic Play-Doh. It's raining outside. Got a nice pot haircut. There's a lot of stuff going through my brain. I have a lot of pain inside of me, a lot of pain, a lot of emotional pain from the past, and coping mechanisms over coping mechanisms that have laid themselves above that pain, and I'm trying to deal with it the best I can. It has to be done through holistic healing, not through pharma drugs. I've been through all of this. I know what I'm talking about. One time there was this guy, he was promoting this cocaine type of drug, a synthetic drug from the pharma industry to keep people awake for like days and days. And he was all proud about it, proud promoting it. And I said, I'm okay, thank you. I prefer to use my holistic means. And because he was promoting that drug, he said, thank you for your input, but obviously he didn't appreciate it very much. So he came back under a different account with a different name and he insulted me like there's no tomorrow. You see the dishonesty about it, and this agitation and this incredible agitation and anger and obviously self-image making with that drug, and like identification with that drug, and pride and all of this pride promoting that drug for that pharma industry, getting paid for it. That's like that's a tremendous pride for him, and then I come along and I just debunk it in one sentence, and I say, and I didn't even debunk it directly, I was kind of indirectly by saying, oh, I prefer my holistic means. They work much better for me, makes me much healthier. And that was too much for the ego to take. So when you see these types of reactions from people, you know that there are some hefty things going on underneath. So, even though I have dissolved a lot of pain, I've worked on a lot, I've become very conscious about a lot of things. That doesn't mean the pain is now completely evaporated, or that doesn't mean I'm free from ego or mental issues or whatever, no. Still dabble with it, still dealing with it, stuff's coming up. But things are a whole lot more transparent to me now. There's an inner transparency going on, a glasnost, a perestroika on the inside. Yes, Papa Dog, that is what we need. Yes, yes, Papa Dog too. He's very, very conscious about all these things very advanced. Yes, it's been through all of this, come out the other end. And, there's no need anymore for ego when you've come out the other end of that tunnel. And um, so I still have ego, I'm still dealing with it, but it is a whole lot more transparent. The more transparent it becomes, the easier it will become to heal it and dissolve it and transcend it and come out the other end. So it just becomes more and more manageable, everything. The further we go with it. But it's an ongoing process. But you've really accomplished the most once things become very, very conscious and transparent. Then you're on the right track, definitely. For people who are running away from the pain, they are not on the right track. Okay, they're running in the other direction. They run into more and more problems. So, and that's what we want to avoid. Meat plant. Smells absolutely lovely. It's amazing. They all smell amazing. Just bought this yesterday. It's great. Great stuff. I think it's called Crazy Clay. Crazy enchanting. Papa dog. And I think there is wheat in it. Yeah, I think that's what it said. They all contain wheat, like white, depleted baguette bread, wheat flour. Yes, Papa dog. They put some dyes into it, and I don't know what else they put in, but it's very, very finely pulverized wheat. Highly processed, of course. You could eat this, but I don't recommend it. Also, we want to stay away from dog food that has any kind of food colorants in it. So that's why I recommend the Honest Kitchen. It has good ingredients in it, but you can also make it yourself with quinoa. Cook quinoa. Papa dog, why are you doing this? Why is Papa dog scratching? Why is Papa dog scratching? What is he scratching there? Huh? What is it, Papa dog? What is it, my love? So, yeah, I don't want this lamp to fall over here. Papa dog, why are you doing this? Yeah, so also another thing is there is a Papa dog, yes, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous orange god. And Papa dog can easily turn this lamp over. And if that light bulb falls, then this one is not at risk because I just switched, and that's why I switched. That's the main reason I switched. I took the fluorescent light, those coiled light bulbs, fluorescent coiled light bulbs. I took those out and I put LED light bulbs in it that use, and also of course for electricity saving for the environment. So the LED light bulbs are the best. That's what we want to use for safety, for energy, money saving, energy conservation, for planet Earth. It's wonderful, absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I am dealing with my stuff. I have depression today, but yeah, I don't know if I can even call this depression anymore. So I'm a little bit down, so my psychology is a bit dimmed down today, together with the sky, and that's okay. It's not, I don't call this even depression anymore, because I've become more, when you become more and more and more aware, then you can flow with it, with that, with whatever is there, whatever emotion is going on. Yes, Baba Dog, yes, my beautiful blue god baby. And you just breathe with it, You sit back, straighten your spinal cord, you breathe with it, you flow with it. You let the energy, keep the energy flowing, not obstructing it. And that's good to do. That's real good to do. So many things I wanted to talk about also, in regards to pleasure, in regards to craving, when people crave things or when people want things. Tony Robbins talked about this very beautifully also in his 30-day audio program, how we can switch our mindset from, this I am here and I want to be there, to I am here and it is good. So, and that's what I'm practicing when I'm dealing with something that comes up, or when I deal with, a feeling of being puny. I got that a lot. This is a recurring theme in my life. I feel puny. It's kind of ridiculous, but that's what it is, and it is what it is. And this feeling of, I feel kind of, even though I'm 5'9" and weigh 230 pounds, I feel puny. It's kind of weird. But it's a real old feeling. It's a feeling that's way from my childhood. When I was much smaller, of course, when I was a skinny little girl, and I felt puny. It's a nasty, nasty feeling. Nasty, when you feel, to feel, helpless and vulnerable and not strong, not empowered, but totally to the mercy of others, and to the mercy of, to this in a suspended state of needing other people to be friendly and yeah, it's very, 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 very painful, my childhood. Very painful, mainly emotionally. It's a lot of emotional pain in it. And it comes up, and I get overwhelmed, and then my coping mechanisms, that OCD type of coping mechanisms, will take over, and then they will create some kind of, where I feel like I have to protect myself from particles of other people. I mean, it's this kind of stuff, but it's becoming very conscious and aware. The more it becomes conscious and aware, the better it is, because then we can reflect over it. We can think about it. We can, and you know, those people who will dismiss this and say, you know, this is too embarrassing. Let me just drink alcohol, or let me just take drugs, or let me just run away, or watch a horror movie to drown that out. You know, so that's not the right coping strategy to do. So it's running away from it is not a solution. It will just make things worse and worse and worse down the line, you know, or fleeing into a religion, you know, like people that will. I know people. I know a Jehovah's Witness lady who had an atheist father or atheist parents, and I know a Seventh-day Adventist lady who had an atheist father, and I said to her, why in the world would you, coming from an atheist family background, where with reason and everything, and flee into that religion? Why in the world? She didn't even know how to answer. She just, that question took her by surprise. She never thought about this. I don't know if she thought about this even after we left, so she never called me, of course, so I gave her my number. They also don't socialize with people who are not part of their group, so neither the Seventh-day Adventists nor the Jehovah's Witnesses. So it's another escape, you know. To escape into religion is an escape, whether the religion is a religion that you grew up with or whether it is a religion you chose later on. You know, it's still an escape. It's an escape from the now, from the present moment, from that what is. I'm not going that route. I'm not going any of these routes, any of these infinite modalities that people are cooking up, you know, in their society or in their thoughts or whatever. Papa dog or Bubs. Yeah. I learned from dogs. They are in the now. They don't run away from pain. They deal with it. But, you know, that is because they don't have this complicated mechanism, these additional abstract escape mechanisms as we have. So they are really confronted with the now. They can become neurotic too, caused by people, by their neurosis. It's very tragic. And they can heal just like we can heal. But, you know, in general, we can learn from them because they're in the now. They don't run off into escape mechanisms, escape routes. They don't create abstractions over abstractions on emotional pain. So they deal with what there is, and they heal with it in the now. So when we give love to dogs or people or horses, then the individual can finally feel at ease, can finally heal. And that's what my goal is for the whole world. I want to see healing happening in the whole world. No more hurt, no more emotional unavailability, no more coldness, no more violence. That's what I want to see in the world. And that's why I make these videos, because I think sharing those kind of thoughts and those experiences that we had, sharing it with others is vital. It's very helpful for others. So, what is it, baby? What is it, baby? Do you have a hiccup, Papa dog? Do you have a hiccup? What is it, Babs? Yeah? What is Babs? What's it, Babs? It's very important to have a healing environment, to have a kind-hearted, patient, and loving environment for all beings. And the more we heal, the more we create this healing environment for others. That's what's so incredibly, infinitely important. And again, my wish is to have a therapy center one day where people can really let the guard down, where the trolls, the haters can also come and they, for the first time in their lives, let their guard down, let this, the guard of, I'm okay, no one can hurt me, I'm happy, I'm not butthurt, I'm okay, it's this guard, this outside facade, but underneath there is an incredible amount of pain that's convoluted over convolutions. Pain and hurt and vulnerability, it's all there. It's all happening. People deal with their pain by hurting others. That's their way of dealing with it. Out of fear again. It's like, I also notice people, when they're afraid of something or someone, they will go and insult that person. That's their way of dealing with their fear in regards to that person or what the person stands for. Happens all the time. All the time. See it on the internet. I see it also in person, but in person people aren't willing to come forward with their thoughts. So on the internet people will reveal what's going on inside much more just by the way they act out on the internet. Can you imagine how amazing it would be if we had a healing center where people don't have to act out anymore, where they can feel safe for the first time in their lives, and where they feel like they're not going to be judged, they're not going to be laughed about, they're not going to be ridiculed for having emotional pain. We all do, all of us. Crazy is when someone shoots off sideways into an escape route. That's when it becomes crazy. That's when it becomes insanity. The real sanity is dealing with that straight, frontally, directly, looking it in the eyes, looking the pain into the eyes. That's sanity, dealing with it in the now, flowing with it. That's sanity. Yeah. More and more recognizing it, more and more becoming aware of what's going on inside yourself and others. That's sanity. That's where we want to go to. That's the route we want to take. So if you feel puny, then that's how you feel. Don't escape. Don't run off. Don't go to the gym because of that. That's not the right way to do it. If you want muscles, get them naturally and get them while you have fun, do some dancing, belly dancing. Go to the gym and sing while you do it, or learn how to do opera singing, entertain everyone there, and then they can all start to enjoy actually the gym work, the workout and the weight training and all of this. That can be very much fun, to do resistance training. But not with that mindset of, I have to do this now to be tough, or, you know, or to lose weight, or to look buff, or to this or what, or you can get that role from whatever movie producer. Not for that, but as a process of now, of the now enjoyment process. And that's not a process that stands in resistance to an emotion or something that's going on. See, dogs, they don't have that identification process. I'm listening to Jiddu Krishnamurti and David Bohm. He says it's, you know, the root cause of the problems is this self-identification process that people are constantly conducting in their lives. It's constant self-identification process. Identification with religion, with nation, this group or that group, you know, this, or being a star, or being belonging to this or that society, or being elitist, or being being noble, or as an idea, or being this or that, whatever it is, you know, or being famous, or being popular, or being tough, you know, all these identifications that are going on. That is causing so many problems in the world. The dogs don't have these identification processes going on. They don't identify with a religion or a group or whatever. So we can learn from that, you know, and come to our senses, and calm down and relax that back down. This identification process, like, you know, as David Shainberg said, psychiatrist from New York, he was in a conversation with Jiddu Krishnamurti and David Bohm in Brockwood Park. Those are the 7 amazing conversations, probably the most important conversations they have that have ever existed in the world, in history. 1974, and I was 9 years old. Would have been amazing to participate in that conversation. Would have been amazing to be there at Brockwood Park and avoid that suffering that I had to go through in my life, starting at puberty. Because I started to abstract myself away from the pain. It's almost an automated mechanism. So I don't blame anyone when it happens, but we need to become aware about it. So once we become aware about these abstraction mechanisms and these escape routes that we take, they can start at age 13 when the neocortex has fully developed, and the neocortex is able to shoot off into an abstraction process. So David Shainberg said, this is happening very quickly, you know, this abstraction process and this identification process, just to get away from the pain, because the emotional pain, emotional hurt is tremendous in almost every human, because it's a collective hurt, you know. It's like we have been hurt by our parents because they have been hurt and they have been hurt, and all the forefathers and mothers have been hurt, and they continue to blindly trade that pain on to their offspring. That's why this mechanism has to be stopped, and it can be stopped. It can stop this trading process of emotional pain, and saying it stops right here with me. And if everyone did that, we can solve all the problems in the world. all the problems, hunger problems, war, violence. We can solve it all if we introspect it. It starts with you. It starts with every single person. You're not outside of that, what's happening in the world. We're all part of that in some way or another. You can make a conscious decision and say, I'm going to work on myself now. I'm not going to give in to society anymore. I'm not going to be letting myself give in to some peer pressure just because it hurts, just because they're bullying me. I'm not going to give in to this anymore because I see the falseness of it. So once we can understand the truth of the infinite cosmos, once we recognize truth, then we don't have to go give in to the falseness anymore. Falseness of self-identification and all these things that are spun out of that worldwide. Nationality and pride and shame and all these things. Pride is same as shame. Pride comes out of shame. Shame evolves out of pride. There's two sides of the same coin. It's the same type of energetic system. It can be dissolved. It can be recycled. It can definitely be recycled into knowledge. And then once I have the knowledge and I can reflect on it and I can say, yeah, I can see it now. I can see what I've been doing. I fled into this or that. And I never fled into pride. I saw this very early on that was a total lie, So I saw it in my grandfather very, very, very much. My grandfather was like the epitome of pride and fleeing into that mechanism. So I saw that already as a child. Couldn't really put words into it, but I saw it, and I didn't like him because of that. He felt extremely uncomfortable to me, that person. And he could sense that, and that's why he didn't like me. He felt threatened, his ego felt threatened by my mere presence, just sitting there at the table with him. I see it now from the other side of it. In the past, I wasn't able to see him for what he was. I just saw him as one of the people who hurt me. I went through phases of extreme anger towards him. It went very far with my anger, so that's why. That was one reason why I came to LA in 1992, because to do the therapy, because I knew that, I became very conscious about the consequences of staying in that anger. So versus dealing with the anger with full consciousness at the center, and they really saved my life. They really did. So that's my wish, to create a center on my own and to carry this on, to carry on the work by Dr. Arthur Jano, to carry this on in a very positive way, in a very, very, and I'm not going to call it primal therapy because it's not going to be primal therapy, but I learned from him. I learned from primal therapy. I learned from Arthur Jano. And I have understood now that there are other therapy approaches that need to be woven into, that need to flow into this. Otherwise it would be lopsided, and it was quite lopsided. They didn't know better. It was they were learning themselves. It was a constant learning process. They meant well. They really wanted to do it well, and they wanted to make this really so that people can really introspect and heal. But there are other processes that flow into what Thich Nhat Hanh said is very important. He said you can't be staying stuck with anger. Arjanov recognized that too, but they were still very much focused on letting anger out, and it has its place. It's very important, you know. But you don't want to induce anger. You don't want to like you don't want to tickle it up, or you don't want to trigger it up, you know, which they have done. So Thich Nhat Hanh said it's very important. He said, don't even pound it out onto a mattress, because then you're reinforcing it in your neuronal connections. I agree with him. It's true, but there are moments where maybe the energy is so compounded and so just so it has so much tension in it that it probably needs to be released. It can be released on a padded wall, you know, or on the mattress, on the ground, and on the pillow or whatever. But then it's very important to let the body flow all the way through it and not stay stuck in this one state, this mental state or stage, physical state, but to flow through it and come out the other end and pick up the communication, even with someone who is no longer in the physical. So that communication can be picked up, and I can, for example, you know, I have anger towards my grandfather. If it's very condensed, it's better that I let it out on the mattress than letting it out on someone else or on myself. So that's always the better route. And then go through it, flow through it, and then at the end say, Opa, which I called my grandfather, say, Opa, why did you treat me like this? So then pick up a conversation, you start asking questions, and then you say, you hurt me, and there's the pain, and then the tears will come and they will flow in this dialogue, that mental dialogue that you pick up. And that's where the healing process is happening. I know that underneath all of these puny feelings and all of that is so much pain, so much vulnerability, maybe sexual abuse. There's no telling. I had horrific dreams about sexual abuse that are recurring through my entire life. So I don't have any actual memory, but I have these dreams, and I have, as a child already, you know, painting bathroom scenes, and there was this ginormous vulture standing above us with this human eye looking down on us, my brother and my Great Dane and myself. And who was that vulture in that painting, in the bathroom? Was it my grandfather? So those are the questions. And it doesn't even really matter so much who it was. What is the critical thing is that 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 we that it becomes integrated in a way where it is no longer fractured away, where it's no longer disintegrated, where it's no longer split away from consciousness. We want to unite it back in. We want to, for the first time, because a trauma causes a consciousness split. It causes some people to become very fragmented, very much, all the way to retrograde amnesia, all the way to splitting off into multiple personalities even. That's what trauma can cause. Real severe emotional trauma, where the child does not have any other way of dealing with that situation other than to split away. And that's why I don't judge anyone. I don't judge people when they slip away into these into these sidetracks, into these act-outs, into these abstractions, into the identifications, and all of these things. Those are all happening on, that's all the same principle as the child who splits into amnesia or multiple personalities. So it's very important to realize that important is to take the good out of every approach that offers itself, and to be an active participant in thinking these processes through that people have created, the different therapy processes or different thoughts or different approaches to things. To think it through, not just adapt it or not just believe it and accept it and say, I agree, but to actively test it out for yourself to see if it works. And if it doesn't work, talk about it to other people and say why it didn't work for you in this situation. And figure out a better way for yourself. It might also work for other people. But that is my thought on this. Because we all have similarities. We're all very different also. But we also have some similarities. We're made out of the same material. So testing for yourselves, not quoting other people in the sense of accepting it, hook, line, and sinker. That's what Sri Krishnamurti is talking about to that Buddhist monk that he's talking about in this video here. So, and the Buddhist monk always coming from his indoctrination into this conversation. And he thinks he is not. Okay, I'm coming. Okay, I gotta go. Take care. Peace out. Bye-bye.